Hey, good morning, everybody. This is Moss Jackson. Welcome to Mondays with Moss. Hey, I've been thinking about relationships lately, and I think I'm going to, not the next Monday. Next Monday, I'm going to take off because of Memorial Day. But when I come back, hopefully you continue to tune in. I want to give a couple talks on relationships. When my wife Judy and I did a couple programs on conflict and conflict resolution, we got a really great response. So I want to talk with her. Maybe we'll do something together again. But I was thinking about a particular situation involving a couple. I did an intervention. I did something to break up an old, long-standing pattern in which they were deeply reactive to each other, and fear and anger and emotional triggers and emotional overwhelm. And I did something a little bit unusual. Hopefully you'll find it interesting and be curious about it to stimulate your thinking about what I'm going to call generosity. So, but before I tell you what happened, I'm reminded of two times in our life. One was with President Truman, who gave an interview, I think it was after he was president, I'm not sure. But he was once asked, because he got along so well with children, a reporter said to him, every time you go back to your home, which I think is in St. Louis, Missouri, he said, children swarm to you. You go back to the drugstore that you owned, and maybe it's still in the family business, and kids just flock to you. What's your secret? What makes you so popular? And Truman smiled and said, well, when the kids come up to me, I lean down and softly say to them, tell me what you want, you really want. And then I give it to them. In other words, I give them what they want, not what I think they should have. And then there's the biblical phrase, you know this one, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Well, in relationship, that may not work because what you want may not be what your partner wants. So maybe a better saying is do unto others as they would have you do unto them. So that's the basis, I think, the Truman quote and the biblical quote. So I'm talking about generosity today. Now, I've given a number of conversations with you over the last 12 weeks, maybe more, 13 weeks, about 52 things you need to know, one thing at a time. And some of the topics that I talked about that are actually in this intervention, you may not see it or hear it, but this was some of the thoughts that were in my mind, was getting grounded, being able to keep your feet on the ground when you're upset, not taking things personally. The relationship between fear and anger, the two sides of the same coin. We get afraid, often we get angry to cover up the fear. Things that trigger us and getting emotionally hijacked. Okay, so maybe you could, as I give you my situation here, you'll be able to recognize a few of them. Anyway, I was seeing a couple, and both are, well, it doesn't matter what they are in terms of work. But anyway, the husband came home and immediately moved into the kitchen and started to prepare for dinner, which is the thing he likes to do. And his wife said to him, hi, anything I can do to help? He didn't say anything. She felt a sense of being suffocated, like someone had stabbed her in the heart, like being ignored, not being cared for, being choked. And she yelled, hello, hello, and he said nothing and continued to prepare for dinner. And before you knew it, they were in a full fight. She's screaming at him, you never listen to me, you don't care about me. And he's yelling back, what you do is scream at me, get angry with me, I'm just trying to be helpful here. So why don't I even want to talk to you? So all of a sudden they're in the power struggle and severe emotional relationship breakdown. They're both actually what I'm going to call relationship victims. So she felt neglected, he felt attacked. So a question, who's making the problem? After all, on the one hand, he's just being responsible. He does think no one else can do the job as well as he can. He hates also being disappointed when he asks for help. And he feels burdened, overwhelmed, and unappreciated because no one really takes the time to appreciate everything he does, not just at home, but at work. She, on the other hand, feels she's trying to be helpful and caring, and then when he doesn't respond, she gets angry, but she feels abused. That goes back to some past early childhood experiences. But from my point of view, in terms of answering the question, who owns the conflict, they both do. In other words, she's taking his decline of not saying anything or no thank you too personally and thinking that he doesn't value her and criticizing her when she responds with anger. He feels he's doing his best to be helpful and just wants to be left alone. So how about this for a twist? To break up this fixed way of being. A fixed way of being is two people or one person just gets triggered and they go in the same way all the time. It's making the wrong turn all the time. His fixed way of being is, I'm going to take care of the task. Her way of being is, I'm going to try to get his attention. So I suggested to them, I said to him, when you do that, when you don't respond to her, what's going through your mind? He says, well, I'm just trying to get the stuff done. I'm stressed. And I figure if I could just take 20 minutes and prepare dinner, it gets me away from my stress of the day, and I can then be with her. I said, okay, so you're trying to be generous. But I'm going to suggest to you, you're actually being very, very selfish and very stingy. And he said, what are you talking about? I'm doing the dishes, preparing the food. I said, yeah, that's easy for you. You're being very functional, but you're being very selfish because her love appetite, what she needs even before dinner, is to be appreciated and valued. In other words, what she likes to do is to provide acts of service, to be helpful. And you're telling her, I don't care, by your non-action, and telling her what's going on or allowing her to help, you're saying to her, you have no value for me. That's how she felt. See, so if a person has a love need of, I want to be of service, if you want to be generous, you got to say, yeah, I can use some help. Hey, I do care about you. This is how I'm feeling. Because then she feels attached. She feels connected. Okay? So I said to him, look, this may be hard for you. It may be hard for you to come home and say, I'm really stressed, I've had a hard day, I appreciate some help, or let me tell you what's going on. He says, I think that would be hard. I've been this way all my life. I've always been highly independent. I want to do it myself. No one else can do it as well as me. I don't want to be disappointed. I said, okay, I can get that. But do you see that by you doing that, you're triggering a severe reaction in her? And really, she then feels hurt and angry and rejected. Says, I don't know what to do. I asked him a question. How do you eat an elephant? Yeah, how do you eat an elephant? He didn't know. She didn't know. I said, one bite at a time. I'm going to give you the first bite of the elephant. So what it is before you come home, get in the car, before you even start your car, think to yourself on a scale of 1 to 10, how upset are you, how stressed? 1 is very relaxed, 10 is very stressed. That's called doing a check-in with yourself. Give her a call and just say 7 or 4 or 10. You don't have to say anything else. Just give her the number. And she burst out laughing. I said, is that okay with you? She said, I would love that. Because now at least I have something that I can relate to, and I can be empathic with him. I said to him, can you do that? He says, yeah, I can, but I don't quite see the value. I said, imagine you're a quarterback, and you got your team together, and you know what play you're going to do. And you go 2, 4, 6, 8, and hike. But you don't tell the team the key number of what's to play, and you have this receiver who goes out to catch the ball, and your receiver, your wife, is running around saying, throw it to me, I can catch it. And you're thinking to yourself, I'm just going to hold on to the ball. She should know the number. You got to give her the number so the receiver can catch the ball. Give her a number. 7. I'm a 7. I'm pretty stressed out. I'm almost in the red zone. And then she can say, oh my God, he's really upset, really stressed. I'm going to be empathic. I said, are you willing to be a quarterback and give your receiver some information? He said, I think I can do that. So he said, especially now because it's a short work week, so I can do that for the next 3 or 4 days. So, and then I said to him, now if you want to go even further and you come home, as you're driving, you can call her a couple times and say, 7, 5, 3. The chances are your stress level will drop if you do that because you're getting out of your head and you're being in connection with her. The generosity of that is you're giving her information so she can now feel included and valued and be empathic. So when you come home, oh, this is Super Bowl worthy. If you come home and you say, hey, I'm about a 4 or 5. So we got the anxiety and the stress down from a 7 down to a 4, which is pretty considerable. You can say, I'm feeling pretty stressed. And if she says to you, can I be helpful? Can I do something to help make dinner? You could say, yeah, I would really appreciate that. You're not being a burden to her. You got to be willing to take the risk. She may not do a great job because, you're a know-it-all. You're the perfectionist. Nobody can do it as good as you. But if you want to be generous and not be selfish, do it Truman. Truman would ask the kid, what do you want? He would give it to them. Do unto her as she would want you to do unto her. Okay, so your formula for relaxation and success, which is leave me alone, is selfish because it hurts her. He says, I can do what you're saying. I said, okay, let's see what goes on. So bottom line is, in relationship, what's more important than what you think to your partner is how your partner perceives your behavior. Okay, for this particular person, her making a request or you making a request called, can you help me out? Or she says, can I help you? And if you say yes, she's caught the ball. She might even score a touchdown. It'll make her happy. And you guys won't have to go into your emotional reactivity and your power struggle and emotional kidnapping, all this stuff I've been talking to you guys about. And you can have 3 or 4 days of having a good time together instead of 3 or 4 days of stony silence, she being angry, you being angry, no relationship. Doesn't that make some sense to you? So be selfish and be generous. I hope this makes sense to you. I really do. The intervention occurred to me in the moment. I've been doing other things that were working more slowly, but I figured I had this sense. I'm going to try this paradox, this contradiction out. Not being very empathic to him, but saying you're being goddamn selfish. If you want to be generous, give one to her what she would like you to give one to her. And then I asked him, can you do it? Then a really important question is, will you do it? Will you make an agreement? So next time we talk, which will be in 2 weeks, I'll let you know how it turned out. And then we'll talk some more about relationships, victim relationships, survivor relationships, and navigator relationships. Some pretty interesting stuff. Okay, folks. In the meantime, have a good week. I wish you a happy Memorial Day. Get there to the beach or to the park, wherever you go, to the ballpark, and enjoy your family and be selfish by being generous. Bye-bye.